The roller coaster of a season continues for the Anaheim Ducks after a big win over Edmonton tonight. We're going to be talking about that, the return of Trevor Zegras, and much more on this episode of Locked On Anaheim Ducks.
You're Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome. Thanks for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Kyle Carr, and I am a lifelong Anaheim Ducks fan, and I've also covered multiple collegiate sports, including college hockey. And tonight, we're going to be talking about the Anaheim Ducks and their big win over the Edmonton Oilers. But first, we got to talk about Trevor Zegras' return, and then we're going to talk about the little things that the Ducks did that were able to lead them to the victory tonight. And then I'm going to be talking to you about that third line of Cutter Gauthier, Mason McTavish, and Sam Colangelo, who dominated tonight. Now, I have to admit to you, I got to eat my words. I was sitting here talking about Trevor Zegras being a rumor that he might be out of here and that he's not a Cronin player and that Verbeek doesn't want him on the team and all the nonsense I was speaking yesterday. Well, Trevor Zegras made me eat my lunch today after his return from his 3-game suspension. First things that I noticed about his return, completely physical presence tonight. Compared to Zegras' I've seen before, tonight he was very physical. I saw huge hits in the offensive zone. He was active on the forecheck. He was moving his feet for the back check and wasn't afraid to get in the lanes. And when it came to the power play, he was phenomenal. He was moving the puck really well. Unfortunately, they couldn't score on the power play, but the way that he was moving the puck, working the point, there's a few times that he ended up making some great efforts to keep the puck in the zone, which hemmed in those penalty killers for even longer. It was a good overall performance by Trevor. And one thing that if we definitely immediately noticed was that he allows the team to have a lot more possession time. He kind of slows the game down for the offense when he's out on the ice. And then also he builds a lot more depth by allowing those other forwards to move down and spread out on the lines that they have. One thing that I noticed as well is that Cronin definitely trusts him. He had 20 shifts tonight with just shy of 19 minutes of ice time. And when he was out there with Killorn and Karlsson, like I said, they were working the forecheck. It was pretty noticeable when Trevor was out there. He made a great assist to make the 6th goal of the game. Coming out of the neutral zone, receives the pass, spots Killorn flying, hits it right on his tape, and then Killer makes the nice move to get that goal in. Another presence that he was bringing to the table tonight was that back check. He was coming back, moving his feet as quick as possible, even on a couple of the plays where he accidentally made a bad giveaway or a turnover, he'd come right back and get that puck back. And that's one thing you really need from a guy like Trevor. It is kind of interesting that he's not going to be centering the line as he was the wing, but overall, I was very, very pleased with the way that he showed up tonight. It was unfortunate that he did have the 3-game suspension, and obviously we don't want to see him out of the lineup anymore with how he's returned. There was just a completely different offensive presence for the entire team, and there's just something about him on the bench. I'm sure he's one of those guys that we've all seen his interviews. He's a funny guy. So I'm sure he brings a light mood to the bench when he's sitting there. He's obviously aware. He's got great vision. He's working with Karlsson and Killer to make sure that they're just creating that good top line. So very pleased with Trevor. My apologies for saying that you were going to be not part of the Anaheim squad there, Trevor, because boy, did you set your table today. Next up, I'm going to be talking to you about the little things that the team did that led to the victory tonight, just things that I noticed that stuck out to me, especially against a high-flying team like the Oilers with McDavid and Draisaitl. So when we come back, we'll be talking about that. Are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein. That's right, 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. If you're out there, you got to run to a beer league game and you didn't get a good dinner, grab some Wonderful Pistachios, crack those bad boys open. They got either out of shell or they've got the ones with the shells. Take your pick, grab a handful, and you will be exactly ready to play for your beer league game. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, we're back, and we're going to talk about the things that led to a great victory for the team tonight. Some things that stuck out to me. Overall, the structure of the team was very solid compared to the Chicago game, which had a lot of turnovers, a lot of mistakes. Tonight, it was the brilliance in the basics. That's why I said about back check, forecheck, paycheck, baby, because when you do the little things right, it leads to a good victory. The thing that really stuck out to me was the way they were able to slow down Connor McDavid. This guy, obviously, he's crazy good. He's the best player out there in the world. But the way that the Ducks approached his style tonight, every time that he would get the puck, he'd come flying into the zone, but he'd get shut down really quick and pretty much surrounded by all the Ducks players. As soon as that opportunity would come around, it was like he really had no options. And that was one thing that was really well done by the team tonight. Unfortunately, the penalty kill needs a little work. We were 0-2 on the penalty kill tonight, and our own power plays were not able to score. So special teams need some work there. But as long as we're continuing to score 5-on-5 like we did, it's hard to complain as too much. The defensive play style of the team tonight, very, very much on point. Lacombe, again, was leading it. He had 3 assists, his first time in his career, and then so did Cutter Gauthier. So both of those guys getting their first 3 assist games of their careers tonight. And the way that he was shutting things down, that's Lacombe. Carlson made a turnover at one point, and he just calmly shuts down the 2-on-1 and gets the puck up, and we get it back in our offensive zone. Another thing that I noticed too with the play style tonight, it was really simple. The small, 3 to 4 foot passes, not too many stretch passes. There was a couple that happened that led to turnovers, but overall they were playing with those small 3 to 4 foot passes, using the boards to get it out. And their transition game was working really well tonight. They were able to get the puck out of the zone. There was a lot of shots at the beginning by the Edmonton Oilers, and Dostal was standing on top of his head for a lot of that. But once they got locked down and they got in the groove of things, it was a phenomenal performance by the team. I was really impressed with just how all of the forwards from the first line to the fourth line were forechecking. They were causing havoc. They were hitting the defense. They were hemming in the Oilers a lot when they did get into the offensive zone. And then on that defensive structure, a lot of block shots. Trouba was blocking shots. He's got the second most blocked shots in the league right now. We got Harkinen was playing well. Everyone was really showing up tonight and gave the performance that we needed from the team. Other things that really stuck out, oh man, it was just, honestly, it was just an impressive game to watch and have Zegras back, have the young line performing, have the defense playing well. This team was really well structured tonight, and I honestly, I just was blown away at the performance. Now, it kind of brings me back, though, for what I was talking about with this roller coaster of a season. We've got the trade deadline coming up on Friday. And now we're sitting here thinking, okay, well, we just dominated the Oilers. However, we got smoked by Chicago. So what are we going to do? Are we buying? Are we selling? And are the Ducks buying? Are they selling? Not we. I'm not part of that. But it raises the question of, are the Ducks a buyer or a seller? And do they even know? From things I've read, it looks like Verbeek does want to make a push here at the end of the season, and he's looking to get some bigger assets back. Does that mean that he's going to move on from John Gibson still? Does that mean the Ducks are still trying to get the Rantanen trade going? I can't tell you right now. It's such an up and down thing. We got to see how they perform against the Canucks tomorrow in the back-to-back, because it's just such a roller. Like I'm so lost and confused following this team right now with how the end of the season's been. The beginning of the season was rough. Now they're playing meaningful games in March, and that was the objective from the beginning of the season. And they are in this race, but I just don't know if they have enough to close the gap on Vancouver and Calgary. It seems like it's a pipeline dream, and then they go and have a performance like this, and it doesn't seem like such a pipeline dream. It seems like they definitely have the ability to close this gap and get into the playoffs. I really see the Ducks making a push, and the pieces that they'll bring in is what I don't know. I don't know what the Ducks are going to try to buy. After seeing all four lines tonight and seeing all the defensive plays, it's really hard to even figure out like what they need, other than the only thing that I could see is Brian Dumoulin getting pushed, just so they can get Zellweger and Michikov way more playing time. That's the only move that makes sense to me coming up to the trade deadline, is Brian Dumoulin going somewhere. What we're going to get back, probably some draft picks, maybe a depth forward, just in case. But like I said, it is such an up in the air moment right now. Tomorrow could be a totally different story, and it could just be sell, sell, sell. But right now, the Ducks are giving me buy. They have a solid setup. All four lines were great, and it's just, yeah, I really don't know. They're doing the little things right. They're playing structure. They're playing good hockey, and like I said yesterday, they play to the team that they play against. It seems like they did not do well against Chicago, who's one of the bottom team of the league right now. But then they come and play against the Oilers and completely spank them in a blowout fashion. It's like two different teams were on the ice. And I know Trevor Zegras was back, and that definitely makes a difference. But one player can't make that much of a difference. So it is very, very confusing to figure out what this team is and whether or not they're going to be in the playoffs come April. Would I love that? Absolutely. Is it likely? I don't know. I really don't know. But something that the reason that they are in this position, at least for today's game, was that third line. And we're going to talk about that as soon as we get back. Welcome back. Okay. Time to talk about the third line. My goodness, Mason McTavish, Sam Colangelo, and Cutter Gauthier, the youth. Sam Colangelo is the oldest guy on that line, and he's 23. 23 is the oldest guy on that line, and they brought it tonight. The 4 goals in the first period. The first one was Leo Carlson. But then the next three, we got Mason McTavish making a beautiful snipe. Then we got Sam Colangelo getting a kind of a crazy bounce off of Lacombe, throwing it at the net after a face-off. And then we got McTavish again after it was Colangelo and Gauthier forechecking behind the net. They suck in the Edmonton D, and McTavish just sitting there waiting for it. Puck comes out, squirts right out to him in the blue paint, and he just roofs it. Like, it was just a beauty. These guys literally got Picard, I believe it's pronounced Picard, sat after one period of play. He only got 6 saves that entire first period. They brought the heat. It was really, really just an outstanding performance by these guys. The other thing that, like, it was just, I'm so blown away right now by the way that they played today. The Mason McTavish, that guy, he is such a beast out there. And now it feels like he's wearing off on Cutter Gauthier, which was really cool to see him get 3 assists for the first time. And Sam Colangelo, love having him come back. It's been a minute since he's been with the team, and he's clearly gelling with Gauthier and McTavish. I cannot express enough how just locked in they were tonight. Looking forward, I hope they can still bring in the energy that they had. That's one thing that's kind of sucks about a back-to-back, and when you play really well like this, all of a sudden you're going into Vancouver, who's not too happy about the result, and Anaheim that we had a few days ago. So they're going to be bringing the heat as well. And did we wear ourselves out tonight? Did they play such a good game that now tomorrow it's going to be kind of a lackluster performance? I don't know. I'm hoping not. But to see these guys come in, playing really hard, playing really structured, off the face-off, off the draw, they shut down every opportunity that Edmonton had. The only goals that were scored by Edmonton today were power play goals. After the game, I saw what Cutter Gauthier had to say, his comments about it. And he was talking about when they come back on the bench, they're talking positive to each other. They're communicating. They're talking about what to do next shift and what they can improve on in the right ways. They're not bringing each other down. It's just a lot of positivity. He said he's probably the most talkative out there on the bench. So clearly these guys are gelling. They're getting a lot of attention, and they're paying attention, and they're working well together. So it's good to have this solid third line. And we had Ryan Strome, Terry, and Vetrano. They've been a great, outstanding, solid line all season. And now that we've got a good first line coming up with Zegras and Killorn, and now this third line, the Ducks are in a very, very good position. I really am excited to see how tomorrow goes and how the rest of the season goes. And I expect great things from this team. And moving forward, just a complete turnaround from where we thought we were going to where we are going. So that's my hope. That's what I'm expecting. And tomorrow, obviously, it's a new day. We'll see how things go with that. I would love it if they end up another back-to-back win. That would be phenomenal. They've been playing really well. They've got 8 wins out of the last 11 games. So they're on this heater, and there's hope, there's opportunity. And it all started with Trevor Zegras' return and shoving it in my face. So tomorrow I'm going to come back with a post-game reaction to that game as well, and we'll see how things are going. So thank you for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen today. For your second listen, make sure you check out the Locked On NHL podcast and bringing you the daily league-wide stories that matter with the local coverage you love from Locked On. Find Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts.